In 1936, a poor Finnish fisherman named Lauri Rapala carved a minnow out of cork, wrapped it in tinfoil, and melted film over it for a shine. He had no money for fancy tackle. He was trying to feed his family. That hand-carved cork lure became the Rapala, and to this day, it is one of the most successful fishing lures ever made, with a towering list of world records behind it. It costs about $9. Sit with that. If the most fish-catching lure on Earth is a $9 balsa minnow that a broke fisherman designed by hand, what exactly are you buying when the shop hands you a $30 Japanese swim bait? Because here's the secret the tackle industry would rather you never connect. The cheap, old, plain-looking lures the pros actually tie on when the camera is off are the same ones that were quietly winning tournaments 50 years ago. Today, I'll show you 5 old fishing lures professional anglers secretly use, all under $10, including the one a group of Texas pros bought up by the boxful in secret and won so many tournaments with that the company was forced to bring it back. Stay to the end. No sponsor, no brand worship. Let's get into it. Start with why this even works. Because with lures, it is almost insulting how simple it is. A fish cannot read a price tag. A base strikes a lure for 3 reasons: the action, the vibration, and the profile in the water. That's it. It does not care that the paint has 14 layers, that the lure was designed in Japan, or that it cost you a steakhouse dinner. The old classics nailed that action decades ago. The wounded wobble, the rattle, the walk across the surface, and the fish have not gotten any smarter since. Everything you pay extra for on a premium bait is aimed at the fisherman's eye, not the fish's mouth. The tackle industry figured this out a long time ago. You cannot sell a plain wooden plug for $30, but you can sell a hand-painted, holographic, Japanese-engineered one, marketed straight at the angler and never once at the fish. And think about why a working guide reaches for the cheap one. He buys them by the dozen. He throws them into thick cover and rock where he will lose 3 in an afternoon, and he does not lose a wink of sleep over a $6 bait. It is the lure he ties on at 4 in the morning when his clients need fish and there is no time to experiment. That is what a confidence bait is, and confidence baits are almost always cheap, old, and ugly. One honest ground rule, because the expensive lures are not all a scam. A premium jerkbait or a finesse swim bait can earn its price in clear water for pressured fish. If you want it, throw it. But the truth: nobody at the counter will tell you most of what you pay extra for is paint and a brand, and the action that actually puts fish in the boat has lived under $10 for 70 years. Counting down from 5. Number 5, the Johnson Silver Minnow, around $5. This is one of the oldest lures still hanging in a tackle shop, a simple weedless spoon, and that is exactly why guides love it. The single upturned hook and that wobbling spoon body let you drag it straight through lily pads, grass, and timber where every other lure hangs up, which is precisely where the big bass and pike are hiding. The fair caveat: it is a one-trick lure. It shines in heavy cover and not much else, and you will want to add a soft plastic trailer for the best action. But for getting into the nasty stuff nothing else can reach, a $5 spoon outfishes a $50 swim bait every time. Tip it with a strip of pork rind or a soft plastic grub and slow roll it over a weed bed, and you will wonder why you ever spent more. The next one has caught more big fish than almost any lure ever made. Number 4, the Mepps Aglia, around $5. The original French spinner, and by the maker's own count, more trophy fish have been landed on the Oglia than on any other lure in the world. It is almost stupidly simple: a spinning blade, a body, a hook. But that flash and vibration triggers a reaction strike from trout, bass, panfish, pike, even saltwater species. The fair caveat: a spinner twists your line if you do not use a swivel, and it is not a big bass specialist. It is a do-everything lure. But if you could own one lure to catch any fish that swims, a $5 Oglia would be the smart bet. A number 3 blade in plain silver has put more first fish in more kids' hands than any lure ever tied to a line. The next one walks across the surface, and pros have been winning on it for 75 years. Number 3, the Hedden Zara Spook, around $9. This is the lure that invented walking the dog. That lazy left-to-right glide across the top of the water. And it is essentially unchanged in 75 years because it never needed changing. It is responsible for countless tournament wins at every level of bass fishing. And on a calm summer morning, the explosion, when a big bass crushes one on top, is the reason people fish at all. The fair caveat: walking the dog takes a little practice with your rod tip, and it is a warm water, calm conditions bait, not an all-season tool. But for $9, you own a piece of fishing history that still flat out catches giants. The next two are the ones the pros actually hide. Quick word, because we are right at the turn. This channel digs into what fishing gear is really worth. Real prices. No sponsor, no brand worship. If you would rather hear the honest take than the tackle shop sales pitch, subscribe. It genuinely helps. Now the top 2, and number 1 is the lure pros bought up in secret until the company had to bring it back. Number 2, the Bill Lewis Rat L Trap, around $6. Say it the way fishermen do: the rattle trap. It is a flat, lipless crankbait stuffed with BBs that rattle. And there is a saying on the Pro Tour that every angler in the field has an old original Rat L trap somewhere in the boat. It was tied on and catching fish at the 2026 Bassmaster Classic, the biggest stage in the sport. You cast it, you reel it, and the rattle and tight wobble call fish from a distance, in cold water, warm water, clear, and muddy. The fair caveat: those exposed treble hooks snag in heavy cover, so it is an open water and grass edge bait. But for $6, it might be the most versatile fish catcher ever molded. Pick the ½ ounce in chrome and blue for clear water, and red craw for cold early spring, and you have most of bass fishing covered for the price of a sandwich. And number 1 is the lure pros literally hoarded in secret. And number 1, the Rebel Pop R, around $6. Here's the story, and it is the realest pros secretly use it tale in all of fishing. Rebel discontinued the Pop R back in the 1970s, but a small group of Texas bass pros knew how deadly it was, so they quietly bought up every last one they could find at hardware stores and bait shops, kept their mouths shut, and started winning tournament after tournament on a lure you could not even buy anymore. It worked so well and so publicly that Rebel was forced to bring the Pop R back into production. That is not marketing. That is pros literally hoarding a secret weapon. It is a little popping topwater that spits and chugs, and at $6, it still wins money today. Spit it twice, let the ring settle, then spit it again, because that long pause is where the giants commit. The fair caveat: it is a calm water topwater and it takes a rhythm to work right. But no lure on this list earns the words pros secretly use more than the Pop R. Ta-R. So here is the uncomfortable question. If a $6 Pop R that pros hoarded in secret still wins tournaments, and a $9 Zara Spook has been catching giants for 75 years, what exactly are you paying for when you drop $30 on a Japanese swim bait? a prettier paint job, a brand on the box, and the feeling of holding something expensive. The fish will never know the difference. That is the whole game. A lure is an action, not a price tag. Once you understand that, you stop buying paint and start buying fish. If it were my money, and I had $10 to spend, a rat L trap to call them in, a Zara spook for that topwater explosion, and a pop R for when nothing else is working, the same lures the pros tie on when the camera is off. And the upgrade that actually matters? Swap the cheap factory hooks for a set of sharp ones, and check your knot. A couple of dollars in an afternoon, and your $6 lure outfishes the $30 one on the next cast. Now I want to hear from you. What is the cheapest, ugliest, old lure you have ever absolutely loaded the boat with? Drop it in the comments. Every fisherman has that one bait. And next time, the old fishing reel's worth a small fortune that might be sitting in your garage right now. I'll see you there.